Why NBA legend Tim Hardaway is not talked about anymore. Ever wondered why NBA legend Tim Hardaway is not talked about anymore? Here are some facts about why Tim Hardaway is largely forgotten. Tim Hardaway was a 5-time All-Star and unquestionably influenced the NBA all through his 14 years in the NBA. Tim Hardaway played 14 seasons for 5 teams, including the Heat and Warriors. He averaged 17.7 points, 8.2 assists, and 3.3 rebounds in 867 regular season games. Hardaway played college basketball for the UTEP Miners under head coach Don Haskins, a future member of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Hardaway was twice named MVP of El Paso's Sun Bowl Invitational Tournament, in 1987 and 1988. He played on teams that went to the NCAA tournaments in 1988 and 1989. He won the Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award in 1989 as the best college player in the nation 6 feet, 1.83 meters, tall or under. While playing for the Miners, Hardaway developed his crossover dribble move that was called the UTEP two-step. Hardaway was selected as the 14th overall pick of the 1989 NBA draft by the Golden State Warriors. In his rookie season, Hardaway wore number 5 on his jersey, as Manute Bol wore Hardaway's 10. After Bol left the Warriors, Hardaway acquired the number. Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin formed a trio known as Run TMC. As a Warrior, Hardaway made the NBA All-Star Game 3 straight years, and a knee injury kept him out of the entire 1993-94 season. He reached 5,000 points and 2,500 assists faster than any other NBA player except Oscar Robertson. Hardaway played for the Warriors until the middle of 1995-96 season when he was traded to the Miami Heat along with Chris Gatling in exchange for Kevin Willis and Bimbo Coles. Hardaway was traded and was part of the nucleus of the Miami Heat, where he would be part of the legendary first and foremost periods of the organization's foundation, where he was joined with Alonzo Mourning. His value dove quickly on the tail end of his time with the Heat. In 2001 Hardaway was traded to Dallas, where he played 54 games and started 2, and a short time later he was traded to Denver, where he played and started in 14 games. Following the 2001 season, and with his skills declining with age, Hardaway was traded to the Dallas Mavericks on August 22, 2001, for a second-round draft pick. He was at one time Miami's all-time leader in assists. With Dallas, Hardaway was mainly utilized off the bench, starting only 2 games out of 54 and averaging almost 10 points a game. In the middle of the season, he was traded to the Denver Nuggets in exchange for point guard Nick Van Exel. With the Nuggets he started all 14 games he played with them before retiring. Hardaway didn't find a basketball home around the start of the upcoming season, yet was embraced by the Indiana Pacers partially through the 2003 season and appeared in just 10 games. His first game with the team would be as Zenith, yet he only appeared in 4 of the team's 6 postseason games that season. Those games in Indiana would be his last games as an NBA player. 1. Hardaway never won an NBA championship. Tim Hardaway is one of the best players to never win the championship. But how good was Tim Hardaway? For starters, he was the second fastest player in NBA history to record 5,000 points and 2,500 assists. The other guy is some dude named Oscar Robertson. In other words, Tim Hardaway was pretty damn good. Tim Hardaway is considered by many to be one of the greatest point guards in NBA history. He entered the league as a nearly unstoppable scoring machine. He averaged over 20 points in 5 different seasons and even averaged a double-double for the season 4 times over the years. Due to his crossover dribble, Tim was nearly impossible for defenders to stop on a drive. He knew when to score and when to pass the ball. Armed with his killer crossover, Hardaway left opponents in the dust as he found ways to score and pass the ball to the open man time and time again. One of the reasons why he never won the championship is Michael Jordan. This is typically one of the more overlooked cases in terms of players who lost to Jordan. Tim Hardaway wasn't someone who found himself on the opposite side of court often in big games, but there was one year that stood out in a major way. The 1996-1997 season saw Hardaway's Miami Heat lead the Eastern Conference with a 61-21 record. They were supposed to be the biggest threats to the Bulls. However, Chicago knocked them out in 5 games in the conference finals. 2. Hardaway's comments on the LGBT community. Having grown up in the early 1980s on the south side of Chicago, conversations about different sexualities were taboo. And then playing in the masculine environment of the NBA didn't leave much time for enlightenment. But just as he dove headfirst into his love of the game and even in his coaching career, he took the same approach following his hurtful words. Tim himself believed that his comments on gay community back in 2007 made it impossible for him to be a part of the Basketball Hall of Fame. He later realized his mistake and apologized to the gay community. He started supporting gay people and tried to understand them. It is unknown how much his previous comments have affected his status as a Hall of Famer, but he has been a finalist for the honor 5 different times. He feels like he knows why, given his homophobic comments in 2007 in which he stated in a radio interview, "I hate gay people, I don't want to be around gay people. I am homophobic." Hardaway has long atoned for his remarks, apologizing and since becoming an advocate for the LGBTQ community, doing the work behind the scenes and out front, but it seems to remain a hurdle in his chances of getting into the Hall of Fame. 3. Hardaway played in the wrong period. Tim Hardaway was a 5-time All-NBA and a 5-time All-Star. Dick Stockton once stated the very best point guards averaged 17.5 points per game and 7.5 assists per game. Hardaway exceeds these numbers. One of the main reasons he's not talked about more is he played in the area with John Stockton, Gary Payton, and other Hall of Fame point guards. Hardaway was extremely talented, but if we compare his stats to someone of his era like John Stockton, it gives us a very good reason why he is not the center of attention anymore. Stockton leads Hardaway in total points, total rebounds, total assists, total steals, and total games. So we can say that Hardaway was overshadowed by the other players of his era. 4. Hardaway played for multiple teams. Hardaway didn't play for just one franchise. As a Warrior, Hardaway made the NBA All-Star Game 3 straight years, and a knee injury kept him out of the whole 1993 to 1994 season. He scored 5,000 points and dishes out 2,500 assists quicker than any other NBA player aside from Oscar Robertson. Hardaway played for the Warriors until the middle of 1995 to 1996 season when he was traded to the Miami Heat alongside Chris Gatling in return for Kevin Willis and Bimbo Coles. He moved from Warriors to the Miami Heat in 1996 and then from Miami Heat to Dallas Mavericks in 2001. Following the mid-season exchange to Miami, Hardaway began 28 games to complete the season, averaging 17.2 points per game with 10 assists per game. The Heat lost in the first round of the playoffs by the 72-win Chicago Bulls. After a couple of years with the Heat, he moved on to the Dallas Mavericks. With the Mavericks he started in each of the 14 games he played with them. He was traded to the Denver Nuggets in return for point guard Nick Van Exel. At that point, he moved from Denver Nuggets to Indiana Pacers in 2003. Hardaway signed a contract with the Indiana Pacers, and in his first game he played in, he scored a season-high 14 points and 7 assists against the Chicago Bulls. After he was unable to sign with an NBA team in time for the 2002-2003 season, Hardaway became a basketball analyst for the cable sports network ESPN. 5. Injuries and a not very good Team USA career. During the 1991-92 season, the Golden State team began to fall apart. Injuries sidelined several of their star players in the 1992-1993 season, including Hardaway, who sat out 16 games with an injured knee but still finished second in the league in assists. Then, in 1993, disaster struck. Hardaway tore the anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee, forcing him to miss the entire 1993-1994 NBA season and to forfeit his spot on the 1994 U.S. national team for the World Championships that year. He came back in 1994, but turmoil in the Warriors lineup and coaching staff, including an ongoing feud between Hardaway and fellow player Latrell Sprewell, as well as continued injury problems, resulted in the team finishing last in the league that season. He was also selected, as one of the last 2 players selected, for the 1998 FIBA World Championship team. The team was later replaced with CBA and college players due to the NBA lockout. In 2000, he played in the Sydney Olympics, scoring 5.5 points a game and shooting percentage of 38%, 15-39 from the field. Tim Hardaway was one of the greatest guards of his periods. The way he handled the ball, the way he dished out assists and hit the outside shots, his talent was undeniable. His influenced players such as Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, etc., just to name a few. Even though he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, we should not forget just how great Hardaway was. He was much more than just a killer crossover, he was one of the best point guards of his generation. He stands right next to John Stockton, Kenny Anderson, Magic Johnson, Mark Price of his generation. Hardaway has worked for various networks such as the NBA Network as a basketball analyst. Currently he enjoys watching his son, Tim Hardaway Jr., who plays for the Dallas Mavericks, where he is the starting shooting guard. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Until next time.